Our dad was an immigrant from Belgium, and as much as I'm sure he missed the land, the food, and the people, my brother and I kind of always knew that the things he missed the most were his family and the beer. After hearing so many stories about cloistered monks gathering in monasteries to brew beer for fasting and for the communities and to keep their monasteries repaired and different things, my brother and I quickly fostered a fascination with brewing beer, or brewing things of any kind. To date, my brother and I have made 2 different kinds of beer, 9 different kinds of cider, 7 of which were experimental, and 5 of which actually tasted good, and we have 1 experimental mead that we're working on. The journey has taught us to not only respect the process, but also appreciate where certain times experimentation can take you a little bit further. Even after our first beer, which was a Tripel, which we brewed under pressure, which we had no experience with, we knew we wanted to test the bounds of making beer at home. We experimented with adding pressure, using alternative hops, adding shrubs, extracts, producing our own sourwort. We are finally ready to test something new and hopefully create a new popular style of beer that anyone can make at home. What if your beer could do more? What if your beer didn't just make you dizzy or happy or tired or silly? What if your beer actually did something for you? One of the earliest stories my father would tell my brother and I was about how these cloistered monks in Belgium had to learn to make beer so that they could cover fast. They had beers in place of certain meals. And since then, I'm pretty sure we've all heard the phrase, beer is liquid bread. But if we can find ways to make bread healthier and generally better for our bodies, then why not beer? What's the difference? And how does the process have to change so that we can get more out of our beer? After all of our experimentation, we're finally ready to try something radical. We are going to brew beer using super grains. After lots of research, several meetings, beer, and late nights compiling everything for this experiment, including lists of all the equipment, all of the ingredients, and all of everything that we're gonna need to actually get results, we've decided on 5 super grains that we're gonna test, and we're also gonna do 1 batch of just regular beer using the same recipe across the board. Here's where you come in. My brother and I are used to doing this kind of stuff on our own, but there's a reason this is one of the last things that we've been waiting to test. If we do this on our own, we may be able to make 1 gallon of each of these different batches. And if we do that, then we're not really going to get conclusive results. And if we don't get conclusive results, then we can't take this experiment to the next level. We are asking for $300 so that we can make what we're calling UberBeer. It's a phrase that we coined to refer to any beer that's using experimental practices or ingredients to sort of add nutritional value to the beer that we're already used to and retain that good beer flavor that we're used to. Every cent that we gain will go to making as many of these single grain batches as possible. And if we raise the $300, then we'll reserve 30 gallons of that beer that we make to barrel age in a used rye whiskey barrel. We're still going to make the single batches, and we're still going to be testing and recording a bunch of different things. But one thing that we have the unique opportunity to test now is barrel aging, because we happen to already have a used 30-gallon barrel. And seeing how that affects this beer could be really, really interesting. If we can raise more than $300, we have plans going all the way up. The next stretch goal that we have is if we can raise $1,500, then we'll use that money to have a more automated process here so that we can test more things like this in the future, from beer, cider, wine, and onto other things. And right now we have stretch goals going all the way up to potentially making this so that you guys can just find it and buy it. But in general, the first goal that we have is to show you guys that you can do this stuff at home and how easy it is. So if you haven't already, donate to UberBeerProject. In the meantime, my brother and I are going to be making these single batch grains, and you can follow along with us on our YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, all at COINTrick.